Hello everyone and welcome back to Art by Purnima. In this short video session I'm going to be painting this beautiful iris. So I'm going to start off by mixing the watercolour first. We're going to start off with this petal here. So I'm mixing some primrose, permanent rose even, and then I'm going to take the violet, just mixing it quite neat at the moment. I'm using Winsor & Newton professional paints. Okay, so we start off by wetting the petal first with clean water. So I'm using a number 4 round brush. The watercolour paper I'm using is Saunders Waterford, 100% cotton, and it's cold pressed. So once I've wet the petal, I'm going to add a base layer of the permanent rose first. So just dropping it in where I can see the pink shades. Then I'm going to add the violet in the darker areas. I'm going to try and keep the area in the middle free from any paint. So just dropping the paint in the different areas, letting it blend in nicely. So this will give us a beautiful mix of colours as well. Just going around the edge now. I'm going to go back in and drop a little bit more colour in. So the colour that I'm using is quite neat. So what I mean by that, it does not have a lot of water mixed into it because the paper is already wet. So you can see it flowing nicely. So I've kept this area quite clean here. And then once I've dropped in most of the colour, I'm going to let that just dry. So I'm going to paint the petal here now. This time I'm adding a little bit of dark blue, French ultramarine, to the mixture of violet to make it a more blue violet. I'm going to wet the petal again. Adding a little bit of the pink to the left hand side here. So where I see the light areas, here, here and here, I'm adding the pink to it. Then I'm going to move to the violet mixture. There's a little bit of the blue mixture going on here. So I'm being quite meticulous about where I'm dropping the colour. I don't want it to spread everywhere, so I'm making sure that I keep it contained. Although the paper is damp, it will spread, which is what I want. So just mapping the colours out at this stage. I find this quite an important stage so that I can start to then build up the colours. So whilst the paper is still relatively damp, I'm taking the opportunity to intensify the colour. So what I mean by that is I'm going to continue to add colours just to build the colour up. So try and keep within the lines as well. And then once you've done as much as you can, we'll let that settle. Then we can come back to it. Okay, moving on to the left-hand side. Make sure the brush is clean. So wetting the petal with clean water. Then start to add in the different variations of colour, just like I did in the earlier petals. So we're doing this one here. So as the colours change, I'm picking up the right colour to drop in. There's a slight overturn here which I don't want to cover. So if you're using a good quality paper like I am, then it's going to give you plenty of time to paint. And then we let that settle and dry again. Okay, this time I'm going to paint the top petal here. So same thing again, wetting the petal with some water. Make sure that you don't have too much surface water. You just need to glaze it evenly. This petal is a lot lighter, so I'm diluting the watercolour with a tiny little bit of water to make it lighter. Again, just dropping in the colours that I see. I'm going to then try and dilute it a little bit further to do this side here. So I'd like to make some of the base colour a little bit deeper. So we need to make sure that the paper doesn't dry out completely. So you do need to move reasonably swiftly, although you can see I'm not rushing. Going back and adding a tiny bit more around the edges. And because the paper is drying out a little bit, just added a tiny touch more water from my brush. Okay, so then we let that settle. Then we can move on to the one next to it. Just make sure that we don't touch the petal that we have just painted, so nothing bleeds. So wetting the petal again. And then as soon as you wet it and you're happy, you go in with the mixture that you've mixed in advance and start to drop the colours in. Keeping an eye on the different shades, making sure that I drop in the right colour in the right place. Okay, so once we've done that one, we're going to move on to the other side, which is here. Same thing again. The central petal may still be a little bit damp, so I've got to avoid that. So I'm going to carry on painting these in the same way, and then I'll get back to you once I've done all the first layer. Okay, so here is the first layer painted, and as you can see it's quite nice and light. The colours are still drying. So what I'll be doing is painting some subsequent layers to build the petals up, and I'm just going to share one of the petals that I've actually painted already in advance. So it's the one here. So here is what it will look like once I've painted the subsequent layers along with the detail. So this gives you an idea of how to actually go about building it up. Now, I am teaching this on a 4-week live Zoom course, so if it's something that you may want to learn after watching this peaceful demonstration, then please feel free to join. It's ArtbyPurnima.co.uk, and the sessions are recorded as well, so that you can play them back, just in case you can't make the live Zoom, but if you can, it's a really good experience. You meet other artists, and also we paint together. I show you step by step, and the session is also recorded so that you can keep it and then look back on it and practice with it. So thank you for watching.